Man, I heard something this morning and I was like, whoa. Okay, that's news. That's news. We got two things. We've got David Sampson, who is a very well-known,
David Sampson didn't hold back. He never does. The man spent 16 years running the Miami Marlins, stood shoulder to shoulder with ESPN's former CEO, and when he opens his mouth about sports business, the industry listens. What he just dropped on the Dan Le Batard show sent a chill through every WNBA locker room. The Players Association has just authorized a strike, giving them the power to walk out right now. But here's where things get explosive. Owners have put a brand new offer on the table, one that could completely flip player pay upside down. Yet, there's one thing the players are demanding that could destroy everything in a single move. Not pause it, not delay it, end the league as we know it. And that's not just talk. There's a rival project in motion. Project B, ready to drop millions on top players. Unrivaled, the upstart competitor is backed by big league investors with real cash to burn.
and the owners will end the WNBA.
Really trying to get a landing spot for tons of issues, not just housing or minimums or tagging a percentage of revenue.
If the players are not going to move on a revenue split versus derive revenue share off of a fixed number, what is your opinion on what happens?
Maybe the end of the WNBA.
If the WNBA deal collapses, every single player instantly becomes a free agent. Sampson sees the storm forming before anyone else. This isn't a regular labor fight. This is the kind of moment that could trigger a full-scale player exodus. Dan Le Batard then threw out the question everyone was thinking. In a moment where the WNBA's never had more attention, how could it possibly collapse? Wouldn't shutting it down be massively unpopular? Sampson didn't hesitate for a second. His reply sliced right through the feel-good talk. Unpopular to who? He asked sharply. Because when you strip away the noise, the truth hits hard. Even at its so-called peak, the WNBA is serving a limited audience. The brutal fact? The league has never made a profit. Not once. Popularity doesn't equal survival. And Sampson just reminded everyone of that painful reality. Now take a look at the deal owners have laid out. Maximum base salary skyrockets from $249,000 to $1 million in the very first year. Add in revenue sharing and that number could climb to $1.3 million. By the end of this agreement, star players could be earning close to $2 million. Even the minimum salary would hit $250,000, more than double the current average. This isn't a small bump, it's a total financial revolution. But if this deal blows up over one stubborn demand, the league might not just lose leverage, it could lose its entire identity.
All right, from the league. The league's most recent offer would guarantee a maximum base salary of $1 million in 2026 that could reach $1.3 million through revenue sharing. That's up from the current $249,000 and could grow to nearly $2 million.
But here's where things start getting messy, real messy. There are two types of revenue sharing being thrown around right now, and the difference between them could make or break the entire WNBA. The players want NBA-style revenue sharing, a guaranteed percentage of all league revenue, no matter if the league actually makes money or not. That's a bold ask, especially since Commissioner Adam Silver has already said flat out, that's not happening. On the flip side, the owners are offering a performance-based model. If the league turns a profit, then players earn extra money tied to real results. These are two totally different worlds. One's about guaranteed payout no matter what, and the other's about accountability tied to success. And in the high-stakes world of sports business, that difference means everything. And that Sampson broke it down like a surgeon. He said the players made a major strategic mistake.
Every player is a free agent. All of them want money and need money. If you have a well-capitalized and well-funded business, the way Project B may be, that could be the end of the WNBA. And I promise you that Adam Silver is thinking about that, and the players are thinking about that.
How real is that?
They called this their moment, their chance to squeeze every last dollar out of the league in one shot. But that's not how smart unions win. The smart ones play the long game, building trust, stacking small victories, and letting the money prove itself before going for the jugular. Instead, the players are demanding everything right now from a league that has never turned a single dollar of profit. It's like trying to cash in a check before the account's even open. The owners, they're not being heartless. They just want to recoup 27 years of losses before they start handing out profit shares. From a business standpoint, that's not crazy. It's common sense. Funny thing is, the Dan Le Batard show wasn't even on a lot of people's radar anymore. The host himself said he used to watch religiously until 2020, when the show dove hard into politics. He tuned out completely, so imagine his surprise when this clip popped up. No politics, no fluff, just pure business talk. It was like the old school version of the show came back for one last reality check. And then Sampson dropped the real bombshell. He wasn't exaggerating when he said maybe the end of the WNBA. He wasn't trying to scare anyone or stir up drama. He meant it, literally. If the players don't budge on this NBA-style revenue demand, this could be the final chapter for the league.
How probable is that?
It'll be unpopular if the WNBA folds. Unpopular to who? To the large majority of the... I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Okay, we're just going to stop it right there. He's got a great point. Unpopular to what? Even with all the new fans, 2.5 million people? If they're gone tomorrow, 2.5 million people. And that's on the very high end.
Here's why. The NBA owners who bankroll the WNBA aren't going to play financial chicken. They've been covering losses for nearly 3 decades, and now, with the new media rights deal finally opening a road to real profit, the players want to lock in a deal that could kill that chance before it even starts. If that happens, no one's negotiating anymore, because there might not be a league left to negotiate with. If this deal collapses, the fallout won't just be a failed negotiation, it'll be a meltdown with shockwaves. The truth is, the WNBA has been running at a loss every single year since it began. The NBA has been quietly footing the bill, not as some charity gesture, but as a long-term investment. An investment that's now sitting at its breaking point. Every investor eventually reaches that moment where they say, enough is enough. Right now, the league finally has a glimmer of hope, a media rights package that could actually change the math. Ratings hit record highs during Caitlin Clark's rookie season, and sponsors are lining up like never before. That's real momentum. But let's be honest, momentum doesn't mean profit. The fundamentals might be improving, but improvement doesn't pay the bills until the numbers turn green. The WNBA still has to prove it can transform hype into sustainable cash flow. That means one thing, cost control. The league has to balance the books, grow revenue responsibly, and make sure owners see real returns before anyone starts sharing profits that don't even exist yet. What the players are demanding is basically, cut us in before you get paid back. From a business standpoint, that's like asking investors to split winnings before the race even finishes. It just doesn't happen. And here's what's wild. The NBA owners don't need the WNBA to survive. They want it to succeed. They've poured time, money, and credibility into it. But if the math stops making sense, they'll shut it down without blinking. These owners have massive portfolios, teams, arenas, media ventures, tech stakes. They'll move their money elsewhere and keep it pushing. The players, though, they need the WNBA to exist. Overseas leagues might pay solid money, and projects like Unrivaled or Project B sound exciting, but they don't replace what the WNBA represents.
Not going to happen. He said, Adam Silver, that's not going to happen. And if that's what the league want, the players want, the WNBA is over. It's finished. They will not get that. They will not get it because it's not financially viable. You just fold the league because the league's not going to make it then, and everybody moves on to whatever other league they want.
The WNBA isn't just a paycheck, it's the platform. It's the global stage that gives these athletes visibility, brand power, and legitimacy. If that disappears, so does the ecosystem that supports women's basketball in America. Sure, superstars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese will land on their feet. They'll have options, endorsement deals, maybe even new leagues chasing them with fat contracts. But what about everyone else? What about the mid-tier veterans, the young rookies still fighting for a roster spot, the ones grinding in silence to build a name? If this league folds, it's not just a few careers ending. It's the entire infrastructure of women's basketball in the U.S. crumbling overnight. Sampson wasn't exaggerating when he said every player becomes a free agent if this deal crashes. It might sound like opportunity, but don't get it twisted. That's not freedom, it's chaos. But let's keep it real. If a rival league swoops in and signs the top 20 WNBA players, then what? What happens to everyone else left behind? Where do they play? What happens to the development pipeline? The young college stars grinding for that one shot at the pros. The reality is brutal.
Be the end. Because the NBA owners, aka the WNBA owners, and Adam Silver not going to play this game with the WNBA. And you heard him. He was like, the players are going to cave on this. And maybe this perceived move for a strike is like, oh, look at us. We're really strong. We really tried, but we're going to go ahead and take this deal. You know? because they ain't got a choice but to take the deal.
Visibility might be at an all-time high, but visibility isn't leverage when the business behind it still bleeds money. See, in a setup where the league's never been profitable, the real power doesn't sit with the players. It sits with the owners. They've been losing money for almost 30 years. And at some point, that patience runs out. They can simply say, we're done, walk away, close the doors, game over. And that's exactly why Sampson predicts the players will fold. Not because they're soft, not because their demands are crazy, but because the alternative is flat out worse. Think about it. Accepting a deal that triples the maximum salary and doubles the minimum is still a massive win. That's generational money for some players. That's real progress. The smart move isn't to squeeze every dollar today, it's to build the foundation for bigger wins later. Take the money, grow the game, and circle back when the books are balanced and the league's finally proving it can make a profit. That's when your leverage actually counts. Maybe this moment the players keep talking about isn't about breaking the bank. It's about proving the model works. It's about locking in strong gains, stabilizing the system, and coming back in 3 years with the numbers to back up even bolder demands. Because once those profits start rolling, you're not negotiating from emotion, you're negotiating from power. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. But Sampson did. If the WNBA collapses because the players push too hard, too fast, history won't paint them as heroes fighting for fairness. It'll remember them as the ones who killed the league by overplaying their hand. That's a legacy nobody wants. So now the question becomes, do the players take this life-changing deal, secure the league's future, and fight another day? Or do they gamble everything, chase perfection, and risk losing everything they've built? So here's where the tension hits its breaking point. The next few weeks could decide whether the WNBA levels up or collapses entirely. The players are fired up, the owners are standing firm, and every move from here carries real consequences. Sampson's warning isn't some scare tactic, it's a cold financial reality check. He's saying what everyone else is too afraid to admit. The owners don't need to keep running a league that doesn't pay them back. Not when rival projects like Unrivaled and Project B are sitting on huge funding and ready to poach the brightest stars. The players might think they're holding all the cards, but the truth? The owners can simply fold the deck and walk away. And that's what makes this so dangerous. One bad decision, one miscalculated demand, and everything women's basketball has built in the US could unravel overnight. Sampson made it clear. This isn't about greed or disrespect, it's about timing. The WNBA is finally inching toward financial stability, but instead of locking in that progress, the players are threatening to blow it all up before it's even secure. The stakes couldn't be higher. If the players take the deal, the league gets breathing room, salaries go up, exposure grows, and in 3 years, they come back with real financial proof to demand even more. But if they refuse and push for full NBA-style revenue sharing now, the risk isn't just losing a contract, it's losing the entire league. And what happens then? Maybe 20 stars get signed elsewhere. Maybe a few leagues overseas scoop up the top names. But the majority, they'd be left scrambling, careers frozen, dreams shattered, all because the fight got too big, too fast.
Thing they did wrong, they said this is their moment. And so they've put a lot of pressure on themselves to make huge changes in the collective bargaining agreement because this is their moment. What you try to do is make incremental benefits through the course of multiple.
Sampson's final message was clear and brutal. This is the moment that defines the WNBA's future. Either they play smart and build something lasting, or they swing for everything and end up with nothing. Because when business meets passion, emotion can't lead the way. Numbers do. If the players and owners can't find middle ground, it won't just be another labor dispute. It'll be the day women's basketball in America faces its most painful reckoning yet. So what do you think? Should the players lock in the deal and protect the league's future? Or should they risk it all for total equality right now? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and make sure to subscribe for more raw, unfiltered sports talk. Because this story is just getting started. This is it. The moment everything hangs in the balance. The players, the owners, and the entire future of women's basketball are standing on a cliff. And one wrong step could send the league tumbling into chaos. Sampson didn't sugarcoat a thing. He laid it out plain. If this deal collapses, there might not be a WNBA left to save. The owners have reached their breaking point and the players are standing on principle. But principles don't pay salaries and ideals don't cover losses. With projects like Unrivaled and Project B dangling multi-million-dollar offers, the power dynamic is shifting fast. The WNBA could wake up one morning and realize its biggest stars have already been signed away. And let's not forget, this isn't just about the elite players with sponsorships and shoe deals. It's about the rookies, the role players, the bench grinders who've poured everything into this league. If the WNBA collapses, their dreams don't get put on pause, they end. Sampson's message couldn't be louder. Take the deal, stabilize the business, and fight again later from a position of strength. Because walking away now doesn't just risk money, it risks the entire legacy of women's basketball in America. The owners can always find another investment, but the players, they can't just build another WNBA overnight. This is the kind of standoff that turns into history, either the start of a new era or the biggest what if the league has ever seen. The next few days will reveal whether both sides have the courage to think long term instead of letting pride burn down everything they built. And honestly, it's about to get real, because once the first star signs with a rival league or the first sponsor backs out, the dominoes will fall faster than anyone expects. So what do you think? Should the players take the money and protect the league's future, or hold out for everything and risk it all? Drop your take in the comments and hit subscribe, because this situation is about to get a lot more intense. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.